Hello, friends, and welcome to the Friendly Show. I am your host and friend, Leigh. Okay, so hopefully this is going to work this week. I got a notification that it. Let me know if you're listening to this on Twitch because I got a notification that it may not be working, but then I have a check mark next to Twitch, so hopefully it is. We'll see. And let me just see here. I'm going to really hope can't post comment. Yes. So I'm not sure. Last week, the comments were not working, and that was a bummer because it's my favorite part of the show. So if you're listening, live, and we always record you guys on Wednesday nights, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, or whatever the equivalent is for you. And so if you're watching right now, because I do see eyeballs, if you could just say hi, just so I know that the comments are working, that would be excellent. Woohoo! Yes. Okay, there we go. Melanie's here and she says, "Hey, Britt and I are here." Awesome. Okay. Excellent, excellent. So, if you are new to the show, just real quick, welcome. And I wanted to let you know kind of how we work this show. We've got a couple different segments. What we do in the very beginning is I will be doing kind of for the audio version. So it's going to be like a little bit of information about the topic that we're going to be talking about. Then the second half is we will be going through like whatever questions, comments, experiences you have related to it. And then the last part, we do a lightning round of questions to get to know your friends. So I always like to think of it as if I invited you over to my house. I invited a couple friends, and maybe you brought a couple friends, and we're all sitting around in my living room having a conversation. And every month we pick a new theme that we're talking about. And then every week we look at that theme through the lens of one of the pillars of our happy framework. And so today we are going to be talking about the theme, which is the habit of happiness. And we are going to be looking at it through the lens of purpose. So, stepping into your purpose. I did make some notes just so then if you are listening to it in the audio version, it's a little bit easier for you to listen. Because I do know that once we get into the chatty part, it is a little bit difficult. So if you want to like really get involved, I highly recommend that you come on over to YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, or Facebook. YouTube is going to be the one I think that's maybe the easiest for you to be able to interact, but I'm on all of those platforms and you can be there live. And then when you comment, just like Melanie just did, you become a part of the show. Okay. So when we're talking about purpose, we talk about this every month, and I really want to kind of dive in to this a little bit more because I don't know if it's, we talk about the RAS in our brain, the reticular activating system, about how, what you focus on, you create more of. Well, the more that I am doing this work with people, the more I'm realizing that people are really struggling with finding their purpose. And it really bothers me because it's kind of like when people are finding their happiness. I lost my happiness. I lost my joy. I need to go find it. And everybody's constantly looking out there. And we really need to be tapping into the fact that it is in ourselves. So I just shared on Instagram. I don't know if you've heard the story. There were 3 genies. And I'm just going to share this with you because I think it's like bang on. And it's the same with happiness, same with purpose. And so there were 3 genies, and they were trying to figure out, okay, so they wanted to hide happiness from human beings. Okay. And so the first genie was like, and if you've heard this before, I may be butchering it a little bit in the nuance or details, but the message is still here. Okay. So first genie says, I know what we're going to do. We are going to, I'm going to hide happiness at the top of the mountain and nobody will be able to get up there. And then the second genie was like, well, that's not actually going to work because these humans were given, willpower and stamina and physical strength and ability. They'll climb the mountain and they'll find the happiness. So the second genie says, I have a much better idea. Instead of doing it there, we'll put it on the moon and they will never be able to find their happiness there. And the third genie was like, well, no, that's not going to work either, because we've given these humans have intelligence, and they're going to be able to create a rocket, and they'll be able to go to the moon. And so that's not going to work. So then that third genie got really quiet and then figured it out and said, I know where we're going to hide it. We're going to hide the happiness within themselves. And that way, they are always going to be searching out there, and they will never think to calm down enough to look inside. And so that message is the same for happiness as it is for purpose. We can't be searching out there. We need to be searching in here. And really, it's just a remembering. It's just a coming home to ourselves. And with the busyness of this world, that's the biggest problem, is that we're constantly looking out there. And one of the big things that's happening with the younger generation, and I still feel it, I see it in my generation, I also see it in older generations. But in the younger generation, they didn't have as much time as we did in exploring the outdoors and being in nature and being a little bit quieter. They didn't have to wait for the internet to, to what was it? I can't remember what it was called, but the modem would have to go, and you'd have to wait for the internet to come on. You would have to, we were just talking about this, me and my sister. You'd have to, like, to call your friends, you had to be on a rotary phone, and you had to dial each number. And there was a patience in that, and there was a quietness in that. Sure, sometimes it was frustrating, but there was a slower pace that the younger kids now don't have. And so they're thinking that they should always have all of this right in front of them. And so they are in this place where they are looking everywhere for purpose and looking for meaning, and everything's got to be this big grand thing. And really, that's not what purpose is. Purpose is when we get quiet. Purpose is really how we want to show up. And the Dalai Lama, if you guys follow me, you guys know I love the Dalai Lama. And his whole thing is that our purpose is to be happy and to share our love. That is what our purpose is. And I was talking to my therapist this week, and she actually had a different take on what purpose is. She said that the purpose of our life is for us to, how did she explain it? She said something along the lines of, for us to live into our potential and live our best life. Shouldn't use best life, because I actually hate that, because everybody's talking about the Instagram, like living your best life. But that's what our purpose is for us to grow into who we are supposed to be. And when we're doing that, not by stepping on anybody else's toes, not by hurting their journey to get to where they are. But all of it is just for us to keep elevating and growing into who we are. And really, it's more of a coming home, slowing down, and getting in to who we really are. And so when we're talking about purpose and purpose as a habit, I think the biggest thing that we need to be doing is we need to be slowing down. We need to be finding ways that we're able to slow down, quiet ourselves, so then we can see what really matters. And, sometimes crisis will get us to find out what our priorities are. Health scares, those kinds of things will kind of naturally show us what our priorities are. But I hope you don't have to wait for crisis or something drastic to happen for you to be able to slow down and say, what is important to me? And at the end of the day, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it, and there's a lot of people talking about it, that, on the deathbed of people when they're dying, never are they saying, oh man, I wish I would have got that big deal. Oh man, I wish I would have worked just a couple more hours. If I would have just worked 12 hours instead of 11 hours every day, that would have been the life. I really regret that. The things that they're regretting is the relationships that they were sacrificing in order to reach for happiness, in order to reach for purpose. So, our relationships, that's what matters. Our health, that's what matters. Our purpose is for us to live in alignment with what we need, and not need in the material sense, but our need in taking care of us and then taking care of those around us. Okay. So, the other thing is I think, people think of purpose as this one and done. Like, okay, I've got to come up with this, I've got to discover what this purpose is for me. And then once I do, then that's how I'm going to align my actions. And you know what? Your purpose may change throughout the years in different seasons of life. When you're growing a family, your purpose, that's might be your world. It's your health and the health of your family. That's your purpose. Um, so we need to look at where we are right now and what is going to feel the best and the most peaceful. Because the other thing is if we're doing something that does not feel peaceful, I can pretty much guarantee you that that's not your purpose. That's not what you're meant to do. Now, that's not to say that you're never going to have to do hard things. We're always having to do hard things. We're always having to grow and get out of our comfort zone, always. And it's kind of like those genies, right? We need to be always going out of our comfort zone because we've been conditioned to take the easy route. And the easy route right now makes a harder life in the future. So that's why meditation doesn't work for a lot of people, because they don't want to slow down enough to be able to meditate, because it's uncomfortable, because we were not trained to listen to what's inside of our body. And the more that we're able to do that, the easier it's going to be for us to be able to align our actions with what really matters. And when we're talking about the habit of happiness, that's what we need to do. We need to be creating habits, not to be just successful or to make the money or to, these 5 a.m. clubs that, no offense, if that's what you love. I was part of that. I read the books, I did the things, but it was to do what other people are saying that you need to do, where there's a softness once you realize what you need to do. Okay. So I think we need to really start thinking about the habits that we're creating. Why are we creating them? Who's telling us to create them? Does it align with what we need? You can hear a habit that somebody else is creating, and if you get amped and juiced about it and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, that would feel so good. Excellent. Take it on, explore, experiment, do it. But if you're just going to hear something and be like, oh, I probably need to do that, that's not your purpose. That's not your mission. That's not what you're meant to do here. Okay. So let me go see if anybody is resonating with this, talking about this, because how you feel about this matters. These conversations matter. And that's why we do the show. And that's why we do the happy circle. And that's why we do all the things that we're doing, because these conversations aren't being had in the masses. Right. And that's why a lot of people are feeling alone. They're feeling like they don't get it. And a lot of the time, the people that I've noticed that are really struggling the most do get it, but it doesn't align with what society's telling you success is. And so you're being torn about what happiness is, where happiness is. And it's really exciting once you start taking a little bit of time. And so I'm really happy that you're here. And if you're listening to this in the replay, please go ahead and comment, because I'm the only one that goes and comments back. So if you get a reply, you're getting it from me. So go ahead and reply and let me know if you are watching this in the replay. Let me know, because it'll tell me when you watched. And so when I'm doing live videos, I can look at that and be like, hey, you know what? It looks like a lot of people are tuning in on Saturdays at noon. And I can start doing lives around Saturdays at noon, so you can be here live too. Okay, so let's go see if anybody else is here. Woo! Pops is here. Hello, hello. Okay, so he's over on Twitch. Twitch is working. Thank you for letting me know. And then Britt came over on YouTube too. Awesome. Okay. Perfect, perfect. And you guys, if you are on YouTube, please subscribe. Um, because I have to hit a certain number in order for me to do the lives over there. So if you could subscribe, that would be really helpful. And if you want to make sure that you're here live every single week, you can hit the little bell and it'll notify you when I go live. Okay. Robert is here. Hello. One's purpose is subject to evolution. Okay. So if you want to jump on that and give me a little bit more of what you're saying there, that would be excellent. Okay. Britt says that Twitch was frozen and so he came over to YouTube. Okay. Yeah. There was something, I don't know what it was, but I'm glad that you found us over here. So welcome back. Excellent. And Robert, I'm really happy that you're here and you're watching over on LinkedIn. Excellent. Okay. So what are you guys thinking about purpose? Are you guys, when you think of, okay, what is your purpose? What's your mission in life? What are you supposed to be doing? What does that mean to you? What do you think of? Do you think of the big grand idea of saving the world or doing something big? Or do you kind of look at it the way that we've been talking about it, that it's really slowing down and figuring out what you need and what you need to align with? I'd be really curious. Welcome back home. Yes. Yes. So I am home. Well, actually, I'm at my parents' house because I worked from here today. And yeah, this is the first time in 5 months that I've done the show not at a hospital setting. Insane. So yeah, I just got off the phone with my sister, and today was, yeah, the first time during a week that I wasn't there. It feels very weird, but yeah, it's kind of nice. And at least I know that the internet's going to be stable. So that's good. And I love how observant you are, Britt. So awesome. Okay. So we've got 12 minutes. If you want to be commenting on anything, go ahead and do that and you will come right back into the show. But we're going to move over to the lightning round questions because we didn't actually get to do that last week. The internet did not allow us. So we're going to go ahead and do the questions right now. I had ChatGPT. I always have them do the lightning round questions for us because I want to be able to answer them too, but I don't want to curate them. Like, this is what I want to answer. I want to be just thrown into the mix just like you guys are, because if we were having a conversation in my living room, that's what would happen, right? And the other thing is if you guys have a question that you want to ask, kind of the listeners and me, excuse me, you can also go ahead and do that. Hold on just one second. Okay. So if you guys want to do that, you can also ask a question. Okay. So here's how we do the lightning round questions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I'm going to read all 3, 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and start answering it. Once you answered the first one, like put 1 and then put your answer, push enter. So then it can start being a part of a conversation instead of trying to answer all 3 of them in one post. And then that way we can go back and forth. Okay. And I'll field those. So here are the first 3 questions that ChatGPT has on purpose for this show. So let's see. I hope they're good. I always say that, but usually they are. 1, when was the last time you felt truly on purpose? Okay, excellent. Number 2, who is someone you admire for living with clear purpose? Ooh, okay, that's a good one. And number 3, if your younger self could choose your purpose, what would it be? Okay, excellent. Okay, so we're gonna go back and forth with that. So the number 1 was, when was the last time you felt truly on purpose? Okay. So Britt says, my purpose is healing myself so I can help support. That's beautiful. Yes. And that's the thing too, for right now, and that might be what Robert was talking about with evolution. Now, I don't know if, Robert, you're talking about in the grand scheme of humanity or if you're talking about the evolution of your own humanity. But that will also be the case. So like, Britt, yeah, that is your purpose right now. That's your main focus. And that's beautiful. And I think once we we set out, we're never wrong, right? There might have been a better purpose for us to pick, maybe, but we're never really truly wrong. If we pick what our purpose is, what our main goals are in our life right now, what we want to be focusing on, and it doesn't hurt anybody else and it moves you forward, it makes you feel good, then have at it, you know? Oh my goodness, look at this. Okay, so, oh, you guys, it's all, I don't know what happened with something happened because now I just jumped and a whole bunch of people. Okay, so let's see. So Brit says, no, you guys, okay, hold on. This is so funny. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. So Brit says, number one, today during my psychology visit. Oh, that's when you felt true purpose? Okay, that's excellent. I would love to hear more about that. And Darlene is here. Hi, Darlene. Hi. Okay, so Darlene, we're going through our lightning round questions. And the first one was, when was the last time you felt truly on purpose? And Patrick Kelly is here. Hello, Patrick. He says, I think there's purpose in everything we do. The question is, does that purpose serve you? Yes. Okay. That is excellent. Yeah, that is really, really good. And the other thing that we were talking in the happy circle, I think we were talking about it in the 22-day practice that we were doing. We're currently in week 2. And we were talking about that purpose. If we have an underlying purpose of how we show up in the world, we're able to bring that to the things that we're doing. So even if we really hate our job, which I'm lucky enough that I don't, but there are times that like I have to do something at work that I don't want to do. Or that you have to deal with somebody that you don't want to deal with, right? Some people are cranky. And if you go and you have to work with a supplier, you have to work with somebody, and they're in a cranky mood, that can put you in a cranky mood. But if your purpose is to live a happy, joyful, and loving life, then you're able to go even into those situations with that purpose in mind. And you can actually turn conversations into the way that you want them to feel. So we can bring our purpose into even that, which is really, really exciting. But yeah, Patrick, I completely agree. Does it serve you is a really good question for us to be asking. Melanie says, my purpose to me is educating our youth. Yes. And happy 30 years. Congratulations. I can't believe that you've been a teacher for 30 years. Wow. Okay. And then Robert says the latter. Okay. So meaning the evolution of ourselves. So that's excellent. Okay. Britt says number 2. So the question number 2 was, and for me, so I'll answer the question 2. When was the last time you felt truly on purpose? 2 seconds ago. When I'm doing this show, I really feel like this is what I meant to do. I really feel like doing the show, doing the circle, doing all of the coaching, everything that I'm doing, I feel truly alive. And then I'm really lucky because my career as a kitchen designer, I also yesterday I thought I was going to go to bed early, and then I was like, you know what? I just want to do one really quick design just so then I can get it out to my supplier. And before I knew it, it was 2:00 in the morning and I was still designing and going and doing it. And that is where I know that I'm in flow and I'm living on purpose, because when you're in those modes of you lose track of time, that's a really good indication that you're loving what you're doing, and that you're on purpose, that you're doing what you're supposed to do. So number 2. So number 2 was, who's someone you admire for living with clear purpose? Okay, so this one is going to be interesting. So Britt says, Melanie is who I admire for true purpose. Yes. Ooh, I want to do a what is it called? Ditto. Yes, I agree. She is amazing. She's so good. And she really comes, if her purpose is teaching, Mel, if your purpose is teaching, it's really interesting because purpose isn't just how you show up at work, right? It's not like my purpose is to do this thing and I'm going to find a job doing this thing. You actually show up that way in all areas of your life. So, Mel, you've taught me a lot of things. And when I watch conversations that you have with people, when we've gone to the retreats and when we've done the leadership together, um, you are always in teaching mode and helping mode. And you can tell you're a teacher. You can tell that you're craving to watch people grow. And so, yeah, I think that's true. You have very clear purpose and it trickles into all the rest of your life, which is really, really exciting and a good indication that you are living on purpose. Patrick says, been trying to comment on Facebook for 10 minutes, wouldn't accept the post. Weird. Okay. So I don't know if that has something to do with StreamYard, possibly. Not sure. I don't know why that's not working, but I'm glad you're over on YouTube. And that's kind of why I'm trying to. So if you are over here, Patrick, if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do that because I have to hit a certain number to be able to do lives. And that's one of the reasons why I want to start doing lives over on YouTube. I think it's a lot more uh, consistent, like reliable. So I've never really had people having a hard time with Facebook or with YouTube, but I have had trouble with Facebook and now with Twitch. So YouTube is going to be kind of where I'm going to be going over. So thank you for letting me know. I'm really happy that you're here and that you made the switch and came on over to YouTube. Robert says, one, thankfully, I'm in a career where I derive purpose from what I do every day. Awesome. Awesome. So good. And you can tell me more about what the career is. And I like that you say that you derive your purpose from it every day. That's pretty cool. Melanie says, last year when I changed school districts is when she really truly felt on purpose. Yes, that's so awesome. And Mel, that's really cool that like you're starting your 30, well, not starting your 30th year, but you're going into now your 30th year, your third decade of teaching. Well, so no, actually, and so you've done 3 decades of teaching. So now you're going into your 4th decade of teaching and you're able to do it at this new district. That's really cool. Britt says, okay, so he's Britt, I love you're always so on track. He's my guy for making sure that I stay on track. Okay, so number 3, thank you, Britt. So the question number 3, wait, let's go to number 2. I'll answer it for you guys. For me, who's someone you admire for living with clear purpose? Yeah, I would say, yeah, Mel really does stand out to me for that. You know, I also want to say my mom, I really feel like her purpose is to make people feel loved. And she does that with everybody, like everybody. So growing up with that and watching that is really, really magical and seeing it. And I think I've grown into that. So that's interesting, but I would say that for me. So number 3 is if your younger self could choose your purpose, what would it be? Okay. And then I'm going to do one more question, just one more question. And then so you guys can all answer that and then we'll wrap up because visiting hours don't end here, but we'll keep it to the half hour that we've been doing. So number 4 is what's one small thing that makes you feel alive? Okay, well, that one's easy for me. This show makes me feel alive. I can be like, I could have a flu and then still show up. And then all of a sudden it's like, I feel like I don't have a flu anymore. I do not have a flu right now, by the way. But I know that this show immediately makes me feel alive. So number 3, if your younger self could choose your purpose, what would it be? And Britt says 3, architecture, which is serving others with artistic impressions. Oh, that's very cool. Very interesting. Very, very cool. Robert says, I'm in education, so enabling people to flourish in their careers. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. And then he says, yes. So, okay. I am a little bit slower on this because so StreamYard's doing something where it's I don't know, it's got some fluky thing right now. Normally I'm able to see all the comments here, but I can only see like 1.5 comments at a time, so it's very odd. Anyway, Melanie says each day since has been on purpose. Ever since switching the district? Yeah, that's amazing. Very cool. So the person that Melanie thinks of that lives with clear purpose is Blenda Acock. Yes, that's a good one too. Yeah, she's really, really cool. And watching her, yeah, she's the same thing, right? She not only in her business, but even when she's just in private conversation with you, it's the same type of thing. Very nice. Okay, so Robert says, for two, my parents fostered in me the skills associated with living a purposeful life. That's beautiful. That's really cool. Yeah, we're pretty lucky, to be able to have that. Okay, Britt says, side note, get referred to therapy to starting over. Oh, got referred to therapy, so starting over. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay, congratulations. That is really, really cool. I was just talking to my therapist Tuesday. Oh my gosh, was that yesterday? It feels like there was a whole week in between then and now. I was just talking to her and I was like, you know what? We should like the therapist office, in my opinion, should have like people wrapped around the building to get in for their appointment instead of these concerts that people are waiting for hours to get into concerts to go see some person sing to them or perform for them for an hour and a half or 2 hours, spend all of this money, and then they say, I don't have the money or the time to do therapy. You do. And therapy is so, so important. I wish I would have started it earlier. But Britt, I am so happy that you're doing it starting all over. This is excellent. Congratulations. Melanie says, you're too kind, and you need to tell your mom this before you go to bed tonight. Oh, she's in the other room. She can hear me. I'm sure she's listening. If she's not, I will repeat it, or I'll make her go on YouTube and listen for it. Britt says 4, Melanie smile. So that was, what's one small thing that makes you feel alive? Aww, that's so sweet. Patrick says middle linebacker for the 85 Chicago Bears. That's what, okay. So I'm guessing that you're answering, if your younger self could choose your purpose, what would it be? Awesome. I love that. I miss you, man. So good. Melanie says 3, serving ice cream. Aw, that's cool. Oh, interesting. Robert says that he would have, his child would, or younger self would have chose to be a tour guide. Really? That's cool. Why do you think that? That's really neat. And then Mel says for number 4, what's one thing that makes you feel alive? Doing events with my Color Street business. Oh, that's awesome. Yes. Nailing those people, I tell you, that the wow factor with Color Street, that's one of the things. It's funny. I don't do it anymore. I'm not in that business anymore, but I still show people. I still keep doozies on me and show people because I just think it's the most amazing thing. And watching somebody see something that's innovative, it's the coolest feeling ever. That's so cool. And then Robert says, walking my dog makes me feel alive. I love that. That's so good. When I heard the question, if your younger self could choose your purpose, what would it be? I know for sure it would be to be a teacher. I really thought growing up that I was going to be a teacher. That's what I always wanted. And I remember being in class. It was like, I think it was grade 11 math. And I remember being in that class and there was like a falling out with one of my friends and, she really made me upset, whatever. And I stayed back in class because I wanted to talk to my teacher. Well, he actually stopped me and was like, it's affecting your grades. Like, what's going on? And so we were talking and the last kid shut the door and he was like, hold on one second. And he went and opened up the door, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Well, I can't be in a room with you um, with the door shut and they can't see me. So I have to make sure that it's open because, you know," and he was like the best teacher ever, like, never had anybody say anything bad about him, but he was aware that he had to be politically correct or like whatever. And in that moment, I was like, oh, I guess I won't, because I wouldn't have thought of that. And I was like, I guess I shouldn't be a teacher because I'm not going to be able to think that way. I'm going to want to like, hug the kids and do the things. Um, and that's what stopped me. But then I realized I've been teaching ever since. I think that's why like coaching, even though like I'm not really teaching you anything, I'm just allowing you to see what's there. It's that teacher in me that really wants to see people grow. And that's really cool, Robert, that you're in education because it's such an excellent feeling. And Mel, that watching you just invigorates me too. So you guys, this was so good. I am so, so happy that you are here. If you are watching on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe. If you're watching anywhere else, if you can go on over to YouTube and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I am going to be funneling a lot more things over there, just like I said, because it's a lot more reliable. So we'll be doing a lot more over there, and make sure that come on over to the Happy Circle and become a part of that membership. It has been so good. You're not too late to do the 22-day practice right now. We're doing the habit of happiness. It's been excellent. It's so good. We do a 3-minute video every single day. I give you just like a really quick lesson, and then there's 3 action steps. And that is one of the highlights. Like, I love doing that. And I love hearing how people are interacting with that. So if that interests you, come on over. We'd love to have you. And I will see you next week, Wednesday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, or whatever the equivalent is for you. Hop on over, and we were going to be talking about the habit of happiness and looking at it through the lens of partnerships. I love you, love you, love you. Let's see hold on one second. We're not ending the show. Just like you're leaving my living room and I'm like, hold on, what was that? We have a conversation at the doorway, that we're at the doorway right now. Melanie says, I knew I was going to be a teacher, but I fought it and thought about being a child psychologist. And of course, a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. Well, of course, you would have been an excellent Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. But I'm glad you're a teacher. That's really, really good. Robert says, thank you. And Melanie is laughing her little buns off. So you guys, I love you, love you, love you. I'll see you in the circle or next week. Thank you for being here. Tell your friends, bring them along for the show next week, and make it a happy and healthy week. Love you. Bye.